The group that chants "No justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter" has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Joining me now to weigh in on this and other things, Charlie Kirk, founder and president of Turning Point USA and author of the book, The MAGA Doctrine, The Only Ideas That Will Win the Future. Mr. Kirk, welcome to the program. Glad to have you here. The Nobel Committee gives Barack Obama a Peace Prize for basically doing nothing. And now they want to give the Peace Prize to a group that wanders around shouting, "No justice, no peace." This Peace Prize is a little more than a paperweight these days, no?
Yeah, it's too bad because it actually has a really important legacy of honoring people that have done a lot of good for our world. And now Stacey Abrams, I think, has also been nominated, if I read that news article correctly as well. BLM Incorporated, that is responsible for over $2 billion in damages this last year. BLM Incorporated that had thousands and thousands and thousands of people arrested all across the country. And so I'm not really sure what the Nobel Peace Prize means anymore. Unfortunately, it has kind of been cheapened by the left, which is something that the left seems to do with everything. They take something that has great significance and means something, and then they get their hands on it, and it doesn't mean that very much anymore. But it's too bad because it cheapens the legitimacy of people that brought actual peace. And there are a couple nominees that I think that might actually deserve it, such as President Trump or Jared Kushner or Avi Berkowitz, who actually helped broker the Middle East peace deal, the impossible deal. Remember, that was the deal that Bill Clinton couldn't get done, George Bush couldn't get done, Barack Obama didn't even try, which is to bring Israel to the table with the UAE, with Bahrain, with Sudan, and other people in the Middle East. And that's real peace. That is worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize. The chances they get it is very little to nothing. But I wish I was surprised, but I'm definitely disappointed that both Stacey Abrams and BLM Incorporated are nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, me too. Since you brought up Stacey Abrams, the Republicans are out there, down there in Georgia. They're trying to draft a committee, a Stop Stacey type committee, if she decides to go up against Brian Kemp again. Well, first off, give me your take on the Republicans' efforts down there in Georgia to stand up to Stacey Abrams. What is your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, I might have a different take than most. She took elections more seriously than Republicans did. I mean, did she push the boundaries? Of course she did. Did she change the way signature verification is done? Of course. But she took the mechanics of the election very seriously. And if Georgia Republicans think they're going to get back in power by focusing just on Stacey Abrams, they're going to lose. They tried that with John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Instead, why don't they take elections as seriously as she did? Why don't they go register new voters? Why don't they go worry about voter identification and signature verification? Instead, just trying to go up against Stacey Abrams, I think, is a fool's errand if it's just about going against her politically. And by the way, I say this as someone who couldn't disagree with Stacey Abrams more on policy, but I respect her commitment to trying to turn a once Republican state into a liberal wasteland. She's done a really good job of it. And they voted for Joe Biden. They have Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. And so if Republicans are just going to be against her at all costs, and they think that's going to be their way to get back into power or keep Brian Kemp, who has a very low approval rating, in power, I think that they have to re-examine that. Instead, take the election seriously like she did. That's why she's being elevated on a national platform. There's something maybe you could learn from her.
Yeah, don't get mad at Stacey Abrams. She was the one who went into a couple of weak Republicans, made them sign a consent decree because they were weak. That's
exactly right.
She took advantage of a weak opponent, Raffensperger and Brian Kemp, and she did everything she could to deliver for her constituents. And it's too bad that Raffensperger and Kemp can't say the same for Republicans. Am I wrong?
I agree. And look, she's probably going to run for governor. If you just make it a referendum on let's stop socialism, well, that's what Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue did, and they lost. Instead, go run appealing grassroots candidates, go change the way elections are actually done, bring the Florida model in where you have strict signature verification requirements, change the way that voters can be registered to vote, change the way that you count the ballots, and make it, of course, always in the pursuit of voter integrity. That's what I think that Georgia Republicans' energy should be on. Their current model is not working, and a lot of people have a lot to answer for right now in Georgia, where a once Republican state delivered the United States Senate to Democrats. It's largely because of Stacey Abrams.
Yep, there's not a lot going right out there in Georgia. Sir, appreciate the time. We'll talk again soon.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.